Thanks, Luca. Piccioli. Thank you. So of course the first question is, how did the collaboration come about? Whose idea was it? How did you come to write? You wrote it. How did you come to work together?
Well, it's not a mystery that I am a huge admirer of Pierpaolo's work, and I've been glad to be invited to some fantastic shows by Pierpaolo, and every time was really a very blast of inspiration for me. And then one day, conversation started.
We started, I was doing this collection about the idea of fashion, stream of consciousness, and you remember we were talking about my mood boards about this idea of Molly Bloom's monologue in Whistles of Joyce, and then we start talking about this idea of a movie, and let's do something together. And then Michael Mitnick wrote this script about this woman, astronaut consciousness, and we decided to use the costumes as pieces of the movie themselves.
Yes, I love this idea of the stream of consciousness. It's great to do a fashion, basically a fashion film as a sort of a short feature, and also something literary, which you can really feel. My favorite thing about the movie, which I thought was very literary, is that you have these synchronal moments almost. It's something that I'm particularly interested in theatre and literature, that you really have all the ages of woman, and it is unclear, you blurred the timeline so beautifully that it's almost, all these ages are synchronal.
I think that what an experience, as an intense experience as the work of Pierpaolo is, it tells you and gives you and indicates you ways that are not necessarily straightforward. And that's the case for me for sure. And this has been the case for Michael, because Michael flew from New York, and this little Jewish, fantastic, bright writer came from New York, never been in a fashion show, and his first was a Valentino Couture of all the shows. And he was like, oh wow, he got shocked. But at the same time, he was really interested in the connections between the clothes and how every cloth connected to the other in a way. So he started to fantasize about that. Of course, I mean, Pierpaolo does an incredible art of expanding the sense of femininity in a way. And it was very easy to explore different levels of contemporary levels of consciousness and unconsciousness of a woman and many women.
Yeah, I love the sense, you really get the sense in the film that you see all these women contemporarily being at different stages of their lives.
And there is a woman, which is played by KiKi, who basically triggers the action.
KiKi triggers the action, she's both the muse and the mysterious beauty, the mysterious beauty, the archetypal sort of feminine presence. How did you feel in playing that role?
I think I enjoyed most the freedom, and I think that was one of the things that I was most interested in exploring and seeing in all these female characters, is what is freedom for them, and especially as artists. How do we find freedom as artists, and what things kind of impede that and sometimes get in the way, and what things in ourselves get in the way of that. And so I really enjoyed exploring that. Yeah. And also wearing beautiful Valentino gowns.
It was interesting not to create costumes for a movie, but to create characters through the costumes, because the costumes were the collection we already did before with all my team. And so we decided to choose from the collections the clothes that best can define the characters. They changed all the characters because Julianne was excited to wear the clothes from haute couture, but actually at the beginning she was a kind of restricted woman, so the colors were very sober, not supposed to be super fun. And at the beginning she really wanted to wear those kind of colors, but it was not.
That was not the character.
She had to grow into them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love the fact that basically the story grew out of the clothes, right? And it's a beautiful notion also that you should have a constraint almost, as if you have the constraint, the coordinates, and then you make the story out of these.
And the cape became kind of the key of, as a symbol of the liberation of this woman. So it's
But there is a gown type named Dreams at Loud Voice, which could be another title for this short film.
I like that title actually. You said that it liberated your creativity earlier, and that you love making this film, and that it triggered something in you. Can you expand on that?
Well, when you have a partner like Pierpaolo, and to be able to really juxtapose ideas without a very, let's say, suffocating need of narrative, it's wonderful. Then we had the incredible privilege of working with 5 fantastic performers and a fantastic male performer who played 4 men. Kyle MacLachlan. So that was like an invitation for a cat in a poissonnerie.
No, we talked about it. It was almost Lynchian because it isn't clear initially. It reminded me of Lost Highway. You know, when one character is in 2 places at the same time. So I saw the movie twice last night just to be sure that the characters were different people. But I love the fact even that was poetic.
Well, he changes his voice a lot,
and the color and the moustache. But it's wonderful, and that too is poetic, I thought. Not the blur, not knowing if he's one person, but one person could be 4 people.
You know, like you have the opportunity with this short film to really feel free from the, let's say, obligation of experiencing something like a movie from the paradigm that you have been taught of forever.
Yeah.
Maybe you can see something that is not just a story to be said A to Z.
And you played with that beautifully, the scene where she's in the dark and she comes, she walks, Julianne Moore walks, and then all of a sudden it's light. Then in one same room, it looks like a one shot, and she's just walking, and then all of a sudden, at the time of day is different. And I thought that was very original and beautiful. I don't recall seeing a scene like that before. And how was it playing with Julianne Moore?
Oh, she was wonderful. I've gotten really lucky with the women that I've been able to work with so early in my career. Just another woman who's just super smart and just a great collaborator. And it's always nice, at this early in my career to feel like I have a voice, and she definitely made room for that. All of y'all did. But yeah, Julia's amazing.
I felt also that as a woman watching the film, it was quite an empowering film to watch, because you're really sort of lovingly filming the faces of women at all these different stages of their lives, but not one is more beautiful than the other.
Yeah.
They're all, you sort of capture the uniqueness and the beauty of their skins, their faces, their expressions. It was very...
Yeah, that scene where we were, just dancing in the dresses in the grass, I love that moment, because it was this opportunity for all of us to just explore, like, what does this music do in my body, and how do I move in my body and in my dress, and how do I feel beautiful and just let loose, which especially as a woman, that just felt amazing to just move and have that freedom and feel beautiful. Yeah.
How did you like that scene? You must have been...
That mirror.
Yes? Oh.
Of course, a lot. Let's see. We have been with Luca since the day one of the movie. We spent together 1 week, and that scene was, the
We were in the botanical gardens of Rome. This is my second short film with Maria Carla Boscono.
Yeah.
And Maria Carla was really leading the people in dancing.
Yeah.
She's the only one who has 2 shots of dancing, because she was so fantastic. Thank you, Maria Carla. Wonderful.
It was a moment.
It's a wonderful scene, and Alba, I loved Alba's dancing as well, Alba Rockbacher, and I love the scene.
All of them are fantastic.
All of them.
Alma and Simonetta Gianfelice, they were like women, like iconic women from.
They are, and they do it with such joyousness and pleasure and vivaciousness. I love the moment, the scene also where Alba is talking to Julianne Moore and saying that she thinks her house is not her house, her house has disappeared. That's lovely, again, like slightly between, there's magic in that moment also, not knowing if the four men is one man or four different men, if it's day or night, if the apartment has truly disappeared. I really felt you did sort of this beautiful, beautiful work of doing not just a fashion film, which could have been.
No, of course, we didn't want to do a fashion film.
Yeah, I don't think it's a fashion film. It's a film that is really rooted in the beauty and in the power of haute couture by Pierpaolo and Valentino.
Yes, you managed to do something that was both haute couture, but also a fable. It's much more than that. It's a fable, and I think it's also a new way. It's so rare to see cinema that allows itself to work with ellipses without doing sort of conventional narrative, and it shows that I feel that there was a tremendous amount of joy in the filming for both of you.
Yeah.
And even with all my, because there were a lot of people in the movie, like in the parties, there were all my team, my wife, my daughter, they were there. You know, all the film is made with a lot of friends too. So
Yes.
and some scenes in my office, so it's kind of strange.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about something that happened in Rome or New York, or some little anecdote that you, or moment that you particularly love, or a dress that you remember fondly?
I will share this funny story actually. So that gold dress that I'm wearing when we're doing all the dancing, at first that was a two-piece suit, and I was like, ooh, and I had on my little sneakers. I was like, I'm about to be comfortable, okay. And then they were like, no, that doesn't work. So I have this funny picture of the moment where they took my sneakers and gave me the heels, and I'm just like, oh. So that's a funny moment that I have actually from the film.
And Carla, have you given the dresses to the actresses?
I don't think
They're part of the.
those are the archive. Those are really museum pieces.
I see. Autant pour moi, as they say in French, yes, it's my ignorance of fashion. Of course, you cannot do it. But it's such a...
In the final titles, so of course they are kind of characters.
Yes,
Yes. They are characters, actually, yes.
they're sleeping right now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.